They're creating a secondary economy in the world, totally independent of the United States. We won't have to talk about sanctions in 5 years because there'll be so many countries transacting in currencies other than the dollar that we won't have the ability to sanction them.
Xi Jinping says this, quote, China should have a powerful currency widely used in international trade, investment, and foreign exchange markets, holding the status of a global reserve currency, unquote.
The 5 BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, agreed to deepen strategic cooperation with the evolution of the international landscape.
In 2022, something that happened caught the attention of government around the world. After Russia invaded Ukraine, Western nations froze hundreds of billions of dollars in Russian foreign reserve.
This is where the billions of dollars in Russian assets are held. The bank Euroclear doesn't want to speak on the record, but it has said that using this money as a loan for Ukraine could be perceived as confiscation and would therefore be illegal.
For many countries, the message was very clear. The global financial system was not just an economic network, it was also a source of geopolitical power, and that raised an uncomfortable question. What happens when countries no longer want to rely on a system dominated by United States? Today, a growing group of nations known as BRICS says the world needs more options. Supporters believe BRICS could help create a more balanced international order. Critics argued it is too divided to become a serious challenger. But one thing is undeniable, the global balance of power is changing, and understanding that shift may help explain the future of world economy. This debate affects far more than diplomats and world leaders. The structure of global system influences trade, investment, energy prices, currency stability, economic growth, and the lives of billions of people. Today, the US dollar remains the world's dominant reserve currency. Most international trade still relies heavily on dollar-based transactions. Market continues to attract enormous capital, but a growing number of countries are exploring alternatives, not necessarily because they want to replace the United States, but because they want greater flexibility in an increasingly uncertain world. To understand BRICS, we need to understand the system it is responding to. When World War II ended, the United States emerged as the world's strongest economic power.
Whatever some may think, the U.S. itself has benefited mightily from the institutions we created and the economic and military arrangements we pursued after World War II.
In 1944, leaders from 44 countries met at Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. The result was a new financial architecture. Institutions such as International Monetary Fund and the World Bank helped support global economic cooperation. At the center of the system stood the US dollar. As global trade expanded, countries increasingly conducted business in dollars. Oil was priced in dollars. International loans were often issued in dollars. Central bank accumulated dollar reserves. Then came a turning point, the collapse of Soviet Union in 1991.
Good evening, I'm Harry Smith sitting in tonight for Dan Rather. Merry Christmas. Just before the Kremlin cameras clicked on today, Mikhail Gorbachev said to himself, quote, "When you have to go, you have to go." He then officially resigned as president of the Soviet Union and turned over the nuclear codes to the new top man, Russia's Boris Yeltsin. You are looking at a live shot of the Russian flag flying tonight over the Kremlin. Tom Fenton begins our coverage of this historic day.
With its primary rival gone, American influence expanded dramatically. For decades, the United States occupied a unique, powerful position in the global politics, finance, and security. But beneath this surface, new powers were rising. The story of BRICS began with an investment idea. In 2001, economist Jim O'Neill used the term BRIC to describe 4 rapid growing economies: China, Russia, Brazil, and India.
And who better to ask about the future of the BRICS than the man who first coined the phrase? Economist Jim O'Neill, now a British government minister, has spent much of his career watching economies like China.
What started as an economic concept eventually became a political grouping, and South Africa joined in 2010. The bloc launched annual summits. It created the new development bank and increasingly presented itself as a voice of emerging economies. Then came expansion. New members included Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Iran. Today, BRICS represent roughly 45% of world's population. Its combined economic output measured by purchasing power parity exceed that of the G7. For many countries across Asia, Africa, Latin America and the Middle East, BRICS offered an opportunity to diversify partnership and reduce dependence on traditional Western institutions.
However, tensions remain in how BRICS members will manage their relations with Western powers. Countries like Iran and Russia are vocal opponents of US influence, while China views its competition with the US as central to its foreign policy. Countries like Brazil, India, South Africa, and the Gulf states have warmer relations with the US, which could complicate the bloc's stance on issues involving Western powers.
One reason BRICS attracts so much attention is its focusing on reducing dependence on the US dollar. Why is dollar so important? Because it provides enormous advantage. Global demand for dollars supports American financial markets. It helps lower borrowing costs and gives Washington a significant influence through sanctions and access to international financial system. In recent years, several BRICS members have taken steps towards alternative agreements. China and Russia increasingly trade using their own currency. China and Brazil have expanded local currency settlement agreement. India has explored rupee-based trade mechanism with selected partners. These developments remain small as compared with the massive scale of the global dollar system, but they reveal a broader trend. Many governments want more choices, not because they are necessarily anti-American, but because they prefer greater strategic independence. At center of BRICS story is China. China is the bloc's largest economy by far. It is the world's largest exporter, the largest trading partners for the dozens of countries, and a major investor across the developing world.
China has invested billions of dollars into the continent of Africa to build massive infrastructure projects. Much of this infrastructure is part of China's Belt and Road Initiative, an estimated $1 trillion plan to connect the country to trade routes all over the world.
Supporters see China a powerful engine of growth, where critics see as a different risk. If BRICS become increasingly dependent on China, it is truly creating a power balance system, or simply replacing one center influence with another. The answer may shape the future of entire alliance. Despite the headlines, neither side hold all the cards. China remains a manufacturing powerhouse. India is among the fastest growing major economies. Several BRICS members possess critical energy and natural resources. At the same time, the United States remains the world's largest GDP in terms of nominal GDP. Its financial markets are the deepest and most liquid on earth. Global investors still flock to US assets during periods of uncertainty. America also maintains an extensive alliance network and unmatched global military reach. And perhaps the most importantly, the next phase competition may be decided by technology, artificial intelligence, advanced semiconductors, biotechnology, quantum computing, space system. The race for innovation could matter far more than the race of territory. Yet BRICS faces a major challenge. Its members always do not agree. India and China have unresolved border disputes.
Internal divisions such as India's rivalry with China further complicate the bloc's ability to speak with a unified voice on the global stage. Experts also suggest that the success of BRICS will depend on how it manages these internal tensions.
Saudi Arabia and Iran have historically competed for the regional influence. Russia faces extensive sanctions much from the West. Unlike NATO, BRICS is not a military alliance. There is no common currency, no unified policy, and there is no guarantee that the members will move in the same direction. These divisions may limit how far the bloc can evolve. So, is America losing global power? In some ways, yes. The world is becoming more competitive. More countries now possesses economic and political influence than at any point since the Cold War. But the real story is not America's collapse. It's a gradual rise of more multipolar world. The United States remain the most influential player in the existing global order, yet emerging powers are gaining influence and demanding a larger role. The future may not belong to one dominant superpower. Instead, it may be shaped by constant competition, cooperation, and negotiation among several major centers of powers. The balance of power is changing, the outcome remains uncertain, and the decision made during the next decade could shape the world for generations to come.